Hey everybody, Shadow Phoenix here. It is the weekend, and you know what that means. It is time for Crystal Gardens. So we are back here in Planet Coaster in our Crystal Gardens Park. And today we are going to be constructing a very scenic spot. So no coaster or no ride or anything like that today. Just a little bit of experimenting and kind of to create this really beautiful kind of walkway right along the edge of our lake here next to our Ferris wheel. So this was something that I had always planned from the kind of the very beginning. As soon as I knew exactly where we were putting the Ferris wheel and I knew I was going to have a lake down here, I had it in mind to do a walkway that would connect from one side of the park to the other side of the park. And that is exactly what we are doing. I waited until now to do it because I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do the actual walkway itself. So what I did is I kind of had in mind, I didn't like any of the fences that we have in the game for this. I wanted it to be fancier. So I ended up having to make my own fence. And to do that, we had to make our own building. But by doing so, we were able to just make this one piece. And then once we finalized it and got everything just the way we wanted it, we could kind of copy it and maneuver it around so that it actually makes a kind of a curved and follows along the path right around the edge. It turned out beautiful. The idea I got from Silverette back in the original days of the early Planet Coaster stuff when he was making his park. He had something kind of similar. He had like a couple of different walkways. He had like 2 lower levels where he had steps that go down. Now the guests didn't actually use the steps or anything and they didn't go down into this area, but it was really cool. And I kind of basically used his ideas and kind of followed step by step with how he did it, and then kind of made it my own and worked around with it a little bit to make my own kind of design here. Now, how I made the fence. I actually used, as you was watching there, I used the piece of the sign, one of the sign pieces that has the crown on top of it. I think it's like a fairy tale sign. And then I just kind of stuck it up in there and put them next to each other to make these really cool kind of iron wrought designs in the middle of the fence. And then I stuck a couple of wooden beams on the bottom and the top to make the railings. And then brick wall for the cover, which would be the actual retaining wall for the water and everything else and the path. And then some columns on each side of it. A few different pieces combined there that you saw. And voila, we have a really, really beautiful fence that is just fantastic looking and is exactly what I wanted. So now we just have to finalize the pieces, get everything kind of working. We'll test out how it actually works, as far as connecting and curving. That's what you're watching me do right now. I'm just like, all right, we'll move this piece, put them together. It's not wanting to curve just right because the sign was kind of sticking out on the side there, so I had to figure out another way to do it. So we'll go back to the drawing board and we'll turn that sign around and see if we can't get it to kind of out there. You just saw me do it. I basically spun it and I was like, okay, yeah, that works for me. This is fine. It works. Once we get it exactly right where we kind of lined up perfectly, and bam, we're done. So now the next thing, copy this over, curve it, have it follow along with the path, and we have a walkway now with a fencing around it. So I think people could still jump over the fence and get in the water if they wanted to, but I really don't think normal people would do that. And if they did, we have security guards and stuff that would probably take care of that and remove them from the park if that happened. But the water, in my mind, the water is actually not as deep as it actually looks. We're gonna just kind of go with that. Now, the pathway itself was a pain. Let's talk about that for a little bit here before we jump into the other area. I have 3 different levels to this park. So we have the main level. We'll call it the center level, where the actual entrance to the park and everything comes. And when you come in, you're on this one level of the park, right? And then we have the train station and the Ferris wheel, which is on an upper level. So you have to step up to get on that. And then, it's kind of just like kind of above this center level. Now we have the walkway, and I decided to take the walkway and lower it down a little bit so it's almost kind of right next to the actual water's edge. And for that, I had to do a little bit of terrain editing and make the path as smooth as possible. Let me tell you, when you're working with angles and trying to connect it to the other pieces right there and trying to get it just at the right angle and smooth that out, it is not easy. At least it's not for me. I had a hard time trying to smooth that out and make the path, with not looking janky and like potholy and like all these crinkles and stuff in it. That's what I call them, crinkles. It was not an easy task, but I was able to get it just about perfect, enough that you really don't notice unless you're actually like looking for it. And that's how I did the path around the bottom of it. I didn't record that because, trust me, you guys did not want to see me do that. I think I worked for about 2 or 3 hours just on that path alone. Now the next part we're doing is up here by the Ferris wheel to cover up the base of the Ferris wheel. I didn't want to do just kind of a hill and kind of a sloped angle, kind of just using terrain. I decided I'd do this retaining wall up here as well. So I did that. I took pretty much the same trick, brick wall, or stone wall I should say, the castle stone. Put one of these concrete pieces on top of it, painted it a grayish white, and then, you know, that's how I did the wall. Angled it on the sides, curved it around to match the path again. Then I took these concrete pieces and put them down here at the bottom because I had an idea that what we were going to do is we would have the top wall, like the main wall, and then we'd have a little area that kind of juts out, and we put like planters basically down in those, so flowers and things like that. Originally what I was just doing there, I wanted to put the benches inside of the concrete pieces so that it looked like people were sitting on the concrete pieces, but the way that the path curved, it just wasn't working for me. I didn't see a good way to do it, so instead I just changed my mind up and I was like, we'll just use the regular benches that I've been using all around the park anyway. It's fine. And you know, that way people will be like, oh yeah, I can sit here, instead of being like, well, that's a concrete, you know, planter. I don't know, I don't want to get dirty. But instead, if they see a chair, they'll sit in a chair. While most people won't sit on like a concrete piece or something like that. Some people will. I'd do it. Hell, I went to Kings Island and did it myself. My girlfriend was a smoker, and they have very few smoking spots, and they have this little cool sitting area over in Coney Mall. So, but I digress. All right, so yeah, that's kind of what I did there, and just doing the same thing around the edges and kind of having it curve into the wall a little bit, just to get it right. I had to double up on the pieces there to make it flat and make it as tall as I wanted, but yeah, I was happy with it. There we go. So I curved it into the wall there, as you see. Next thing I did was we grabbed the coconut piece. Now the coconut piece, you guys may have seen me do this in a video before. But I actually got the idea from Bro Nation, Mass Bandit, Ruble Trillions, Jubilee Gardens, the Bro Coaster guys. All of those guys ended up doing it. I don't know who the original person is. I want to say it was Ruble or Commando Santa that found it. One of those two. But they may have gotten it from somebody else. I don't remember. But the coconut piece, if you take the coconut bar and you paint it a brownish color, you get what looks like mulch. And I've been using this trick a lot since I saw it. Sometimes you don't even see it. Sometimes I cover it up with flowers and stuff so you're not even seeing it. But I like the idea of having a base there, just because what you can see through the flowers and stuff still shows up as mulch, and I like that idea. Now it was just a matter of opinion, or not a matter of opinion, now it was just a matter of trying to find the right flower pattern, which can be difficult sometimes. You got to find the right colors, the right pattern and stuff to kind of work with. I ended up going with bush, and then like these two flower things, and then two more bushes, and just kind of repeat that. I wasn't happy with the coloring, so I decided it needed a little bit more color to it. So I went back and grabbed a couple of the bigger bushes there, like the ones that kind of stick up, and instead I would have like white, and then I would have the regular bushes, the flowered bushes down in there. And then we would go with like this maroon kind of burgundy color. So burgundy, white, green kind of colors. I liked it. It came out excellent. I was very, very happy with it. I think you guys agree. Yeah, I think it came out great. And that's really all I can kind of talk about with what we're doing at the moment, is just, you know, placing these flowers and stuff. It would have been great if I could have just like grabbed them and just kind of repeated the process and moved them around, but excuse me, got a frog in my throat or something. But I couldn't do that because each piece had to be set correctly, and you know, to curve along with the actual walls and the inner walls and the outer walls, and along with the planter. I couldn't just copy them and just move them all like that. I had to specifically place each piece, which took a little more time, but worth it in the end. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. So now here's something I did. We can talk about this a little bit. the Ferris wheel. I raise it up there. This is a trick that some people don't know, but I needed to kind of fix the land, and you can't fix the land underneath the Ferris wheel if the Ferris wheel is sitting there. So what I did is I select the multi-select tool, and then select your ride or coaster. This works for coasters too. So multi-select tool down in the bottom right corner, use that. Select the ride that you want to raise or lower or maneuver using advance to move, and then hit X, and then you can advance move the coaster or ride. If there's a coaster in your way and you don't want to, like typically you would just go up and you're like, I can't do advanced move on this, it doesn't allow you. That I don't know why, but it doesn't have that maneuverability. So what you do is you can only click move, and when you do that, as soon as you click move, it picks the coaster up and moves it wherever your cursor is, and you know that can mess up your preciseness if you're trying to do something very, very precise. However, use that trick right there. Multi-select tool, select your coaster or ride, then hit X, and you can precisely maneuver the, using a 3D gizmo, the coaster or ride wherever you want it. That's what I did. I just raised it up so I could kind of get under there and do some terrain work to kind of make the... I got it as close as I could to the wall without having it stick out of the wall. The terrain was kind of a problem there. Then I had to figure out a way to actually cover up our gap in between the wall and the base. And I took these bushes and kind of put them around there. I had to angle some of them and work them just right so that the sides of the bushes and stuff aren't sticking through the wall. It was a pain, but I was able to get it. You don't really see this section anyway from peep view unless you're actually riding on the actual Ferris wheel, but it's not a big deal. We'd throw a couple of cypress trees up there and some other stuff and make this area really kind of pretty it up, basically. That's what I say. Let's pretty it up. And yeah, I thought about maybe some. Yeah, I did end up doing that. I put some rose bushes in there as well, with the red bushes. I don't think they're actually called rose bushes, but I consider them to be rose bushes. Those would be great if those were colorable too, but for some odd reason, Frontier didn't do that. I don't know why. We really just kind of need more foliage in general, more flowers, more trees. I'm not the only one that thinks this. We did get some with Spooky, and some of those are great for, specific works. But, again, it doesn't work with everything. I would just like to have some more just generic flowers and stuff would be awesome. Something else that would be great to have. What I'm doing right here, I'm using these curving pieces to make my own curves. A lot of people are like, hey, how come you just don't go in and select the curving on the actual pass and use that? Well, because I don't like it. I like to be more custom. So it takes a little more time, but it looks better in the long run, I think. And you can kind of recolor those stone pieces there as well. There you see me trying to fix the path in a little bit and kind of smooth it back down. I was messing around with these and I was like, that's not angled enough, it's too sharp. So I had to change it around a little bit and make it a little more sloped. And then we're going to take these curving pieces and put them through there, and that will be it. So it would be nice if Frontier would make these things in different sizes as well. 1 meter, 2 meter pieces would be great. Same thing for a few other things such as logs, but we're probably never going to get that. I don't know why they didn't do it, but they just didn't. Laziness, I think. That's going to do it for me for the day. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next video. And again, if you're only watching Crystal Gardens, you're missing out on a bunch of other stuff. I have more Planet Coaster videos on my channel, as well as other gaming and stuff as well. I just started Surviving Mars. Highly suggest you start watching that one. We're going to get back into City Skylines here soon as well, so can't wait to do that. But in the meantime, until the next video, guys, thanks so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you're not already, subscribe to my channel, all that stuff, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It helps me out. It really, really does. You have no idea. I definitely need more subscribers and more views, more watching time, and all that. So that's going to do it for me. I am out of here. See you guys later. Hey everyone, if you'd like to help support me and my channel, I have a Patreon page where you can do just that. You can pledge anything from $1 or more. Anyone who pledges $15 or more gets a unique, specially designed roller coaster and Planet Coaster made just for them. My little way of saying thanks. You can also just send donations as well if you don't want to join Patreon. And you can find those links in the video description below. Every tiny red cent I make from these means the world to me and is extremely helpful. If you're interested in my PC setup that I work with and play on that you see here, every piece of the system is described below with links to Amazon if you want to purchase them or anything else. Thanks for tuning in to my videos and my channel. If you aren't already a subscriber, click that on the screen below. And you can also check out a few of my other videos on the screen here as well. You can keep up to date on what's going on in my own little world via Twitter or watch me stream live on Twitch as well. Links are in the video description below. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night.